Niko, thank you so much for joining us and
Dude,
making the
of course.
time. I appreciate it.
Of course, man.
I have been looking forward to I've been trying to get you to do this for like a couple months now, I feel like.
I know.
Were you not in LA?
I was in Atlanta for a good bit. I kind of bounced back and forth between Atlanta and here.
Do you get anxiety flying with all that is amidst the coronavirus? You had
Not
COVID, didn't
anymore.
you?
'Cause I had it. Yeah.
Shit, how was that?
It was shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
So I
I
had a
don't remember.
conversation. You were doing a mix or something for me at the time, and I was waiting
Yeah.
on it back from you, and you were like, "Sorry, like I had COVID." And I was talking to another engineer friend of mine. He was like, "Yeah, I've told like so many people that I had COVID because I was like running behind on stuff, even though like he never
Yeah.
had COVID." And I was just like, "Wow, like I don't trust any anybody now."
Oh, wow. He was just saying he had
He
it.
was
Yeah, no,
just
I
saying,
honestly like wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like it was just the weirdest illness ever.
what was I don't want to spend too long on it, but like well, I haven't had it. I don't know anybody who's really had it or like had it too much of a problem with it or anything like that.
It was like basically you just don't feel like doing it. I mean, I had like the least like like crazy symptoms, you know. Um, Basically you just don't feel like doing anything, and I lost my sense of taste and smell,
Did you get those
which
back?
kind of. I mean, my sense of smell is still fucked up. Like a
Jeez.
month later, yeah. Like literally everything smells like shit. Like even like things that I used to love, like coffee smells like shit.
Oh my god.
Onions smell like the worst. Like I can't do onions or
The
garlic
fuck?
anymore. And those are like my favorite things ever. Like
Onions
everything
and
that like
onions and
smells,
garlic.
dude, everything smells different. Like everything smells bad. It's so bad. Like even if you have the slightest bit of BO, like you smell it. It's the worst. Like,
I
dude, it's
mean, I can
so weird.
usually smell, but like I don't know. It's been a long
Dude,
year
it,
of
like like
BO
you
around the house. I don't know.
no, it's really bad.
Man, so that's
Uh,
rough. You had it early too.
yeah, I had it in May.
It was relatively early. It seems like a year ago now.
No, May. I think I had it in May.
Do you know where you got it?
Oh no, actually no, I had it in July.
May, July 2020.
Oh yeah, I had it in July because I missed 4th of July. Well, not that there really was. I think we
Yeah.
all missed 4th of July.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you know where you got
no,
it?
in Atlanta
In
because
Atlanta?
they're particularly open.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. Damn. You're from Atlanta, right?
yeah,
Is your family all back there?
yeah. My parents are there. My um, I mean, my immediate family, like my brothers and sisters, or my brother and my sisters, and my parents. Uh, yeah, and then like I grew up there, and then I moved out here in like 2016. Yeah,
Nice. So, like, what did you move out? Did you already have, like, you got your start doing music in Atlanta, correct?
yeah, yeah. I was doing a lot of hip hop, like mainly like producing pop, hip hop.
And how'd you get,
And
like,
then
how do you get into that?
honestly, my friend showed me a copy of Fruity Loops back in the day, and I just got obsessed with it because it was like a video game, you know. And I used to play a lot of video games,
Yep.
and that sort of replaced video games for me. Like, you know, like instead of Call of Duty, it was painting notes in the piano roll in
Yep.
Fruity Loops. You know,
Do you still use Fruity Loops
my mind
or
was
FL
blown.
Studio?
What's that?
You still use FL Studio?
Yeah. That's like my main. That's my main DAW.
Nice.
So basically, I do everything. Like I start all my ideas in Fruity Loops, and then stem stuff out, throw it into Ableton, and then like put the final mix and do all the like all the automation, all the finalizing, the audio. I'll do like special, like all the just all the audio manipulation stuff is really easy. Where like Fruity Loops isn't really as like, I mean, they're starting to get there with the warping, but it's not like Ableton's just got that like special. I don't know, their complex pro algorithms just
Yeah,
kind of
that's so interesting. how do you decide what to do, and like do you like is there stuff you're like, oh, I want to do this when you're in FL, but you're like, I'm just gonna wait until later to like do it in Ableton, or do you just do the stuff as you think of it and just do whatever needs done on the
I
end, or
try
like
to do what I can in Fruity Loops, like because my whole thing is like working as fast as possible before you hate it.
yep,
You know,
I
like
get
so,
I
like
get that.
try to get all the ideas out while you're excited, because like the ideas you have when you're excited are always better than the ideas you have when you're like, oh, I've heard this a bunch of times. I'm mixing it now. I'm doing the stuff I don't want to do. Like all that, like right, left brain, right brain
Yeah.
shit.
Well, I don't know about
Like,
you too, but like that period for me can be so short. Like it can be the first 2 days, and then after that, you take a couple days
oh,
off, and
it
then
can
when
be
you
like
come
the
back,
first 2 hours. Yeah,
yeah,
after a
and
few
then
hours,
it's
honestly,
like,
you're like over it.
yep,
It's only like the really good ones are the ones that you're always excited about, but then you're also like too precious to add or take away anything, you
yep,
know?
yep,
So
exactly.
that's why I'm always just trying to like work quick, don't get stuck in demo love, or, don't get stuck on mixing or weird stuff that doesn't really matter that you think matters,
Well, then
just get it out.
you do a lot of mixing for other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you,
Yeah, and then basically like by the time it hits Ableton, I'm like, I like take my creator hat off and then
mm-hmm.
put my mixer hat on, and I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, we're gonna make the sound, like loud and big, and do all the fine tuning stuff, or like replace a kick drum, or you know,
yep. No, as I've gotten better at mixing, especially because that was not something that I like was ever like I
yeah.
would say I was like
Honestly,
ever
from
good at.
working with you, seeing how you worked in Ableton was a big part of why I ended up like using Ableton
How
a
so?
lot. Um, like just seeing how you grouped everything and treated it like someone would a session in Pro Tools.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
recreating like Pro Tools vibes in Ableton is like
in
that was
Ableton,
like the
that's what it,
quest for
yeah,
like 2 years.
exactly. Like it was so like I don't know, like so methodical, and
Did
I
I
just
show you
love that.
the recording template that I use?
I think so. It
Like
was it
with
like
pre-made groups
it had all the groups
pre-made
that it
groups
was
and
like
whatnot.
instruments, drums, and then the way you label things is sick too, which I haven't started doing that, but I definitely like my labeling game is fine.
Yeah, no, I mean everybody's got their own ways of doing stuff. I've been meaning to make a video for YouTube for so long of the
You should
labeling system
honestly that
because it's just
that's
like,
so clutch. Like especially when you're working with people, because when I, like dude, getting stems from you versus getting stems from any of my other friends, it's like
yeah, I just like I've said this too, like once you start you can't stop, like you have to
yeah,
like it's only like when I'm sending stuff off to like random people to mix and master that I'll probably never like work with again, then I'm just like I'm not taking the time to go through and put the
no,
letters in front of all these and everything. They just get like, or labels will request like all the stems to the song
oh of
like for
course,
delivery,
yeah,
and so I just like they're just
no, they
getting
want
like
they want
10
everything,
audio,
yeah,
11 audio, like I don't give a fuck.
yeah.
So well,
No,
that's
that's how I
cool.
am. Like, I mean, I'm like maybe I'm not doing like the letter thing where everything kind of when you throw it in alphabetical order it lines up nice, but I'm like definitely my like I try to like color code everything, and then like I'm really so Fruity Loops. The way the mixer works is sort of like an old SSL board where you can patch certain channels into different channels pretty much, but the whole thing works like each channel is a channel and a bus.
Yep.
So you can it's like a free for all, like just like how the playlist is like a free for all. You can put automation on top of the audio clip from wherever you want,
Yep.
which
Yeah, it took, and
yeah,
as soon as I got that, I was like, oh, because I just didn't understand how like any of it worked, and then
which can be fucking insane,
I was just like, why is all this stuff on
for
different
people.
tracks and doing
Yeah,
different
like
things?
and also it's just like no matter how organized you try to stay at Fruity Loops, like it's gonna look messy, and then once it starts getting too crowded and too messy, it bogs you down creatively,
Yeah.
and then you feel like you're like it is how it is, and you can't change it or whatever.
Yep.
And once I hit that point, I'll stem it all out, throw it into Ableton, and then do all that. But like I started doing all the groups, doing like drum buses, and then like busing instruments, and then taking those buses and busing them to another bus, and then just having like these layers of groups,
Yeah.
and then in Ableton 10 when they started doing the groups in
Oh my god.
groups thing, then it changed. I was like, okay, now I'll use Ableton. Like before I couldn't, how
Yeah.
you'd have to create a track, go,
Route all the
send all the
tracks.
outputs
Yep.
to it, and then, it's just like too much.
My hot take is that they could have put playlists in that version of Ableton, but then there would be no reason for people to pay for the next upgrade. So it's like
Yeah,
they
they
did
had to
groups
like
and
call
groups, and
out.
like I think curved automation were like the kind of like flagship updates to 10, and then
Yeah,
they
how did it
like
take that
just
long to
held.
get curved automation?
I don't fucking know, man.
Like, what is that about? Like, I remember you had to like click, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna make a curve. So you're like, click, 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 click.
Or you could just record it with a knob or something
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm trying to
I
think.
don't think I've ever once recorded automation in my life.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. Maybe just
Like, what a
like
weird thing. Yeah.
maybe once in a session, like because I was fucking
Yeah,
around or something
they
like that.
always like try to get you to do that shit. They're like, they're
It
like,
does
put
it
this.
does sound cool. Like it's one of those like it's like using hardware since you have to kind of go out of your way to do it, but like when you actually use like a there is a performance like aspect to it. Um
That's true. Yeah, yeah. I guess because you're like, yeah. In theory, it's great. Like that's how they did back in the day. Like when they were doing they'd send to an Echoplex or a big spring reverb or whatever play reverb, and then they'd like literally sit there with the fader and then like try to hit the certain words and stuff. Or
yeah.
like those old Tough Song recordings, those like dub like reggae records, like they had these like delay units, and then they'd have it on a send, and then he'd like the engineer would make the dub versions like after, and then start shooting stuff off with the delay. So like the drums would be like,
Oh my
so that would
gosh.
be him just like hitting the snare, like pushing it in and then out.
Gosh.
So crazy,
Things have come a long way.
but I know. And now we're just like
I mean, it's just
done.
like every time I'm on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, it's like something that used to take like, you know, even 5 or 10 or 15 minutes is now just like, bro, if you buy my plugin, like you can just click a button and you have lo-fi, like just click on chord. There's one that I keep getting ads for that's just like it's a MIDI like or it's a MIDI effect and like you just click on different chords and it just lights when you click one it lights up which ones like it can go to next and like you
Wait,
can
that's kind of sick.
well, yeah, it actually is somebody who like I struggle because I use the same like I know what sounds good, but I don't like try different things. Like I'm very much caught in kind of like four progressions that
My
I lean
I know,
on.
no, I know. Say my key game is like maxed out, and like I
But
need to start
but I
learning
know
more
what
songs.
sounds
I
like I
need
know
a
what
key.
sounds good. So like I actually kind of like it only works on Catalina, which I'm not up to because I'm on like a Hackintosh, so I can't change my OS. Like I'm gonna be on High Sierra like
No,
forever.
you're done for a bit
But I
until
wanna
they figure out.
I wanna try that like really bad because I think that would be like a cool way to
Wait, how do you like? Do you like your Hackintosh?
I love my Hackintosh.
Okay, because I'm on Windows, but I have my own system that I built, which is just insane. It's like all the top of the line shit.
Yeah, Drip
Um,
plugin. That's the one Ben Adams said. Drip plugin. That's the one that I get the ad for all the time.
no,
It's
I
just
hate
like,
the drip plug.
yeah,
I get
yeah,
those ads every day. They're the worst.
yeah. No, that one is. It's amazing how much money gets spent on YouTube and Instagram ads. Like some of these ads I
I mean, he
see, you're
must
just
be
like,
killing it.
what are they
Like,
making off this that they
it's
can just.
literally just like bootleg RC20 effects, right? That's what
Yeah,
it's all.
I mean, even RC20, like some people said, like I think I read a thread once, and it was just like guys worked for so long to like become great sound designers, and then you get Serum, and it's just
No,
like
literally.
and nobody needs to know how to there's just presets for everything like it's very
Right.
easy to use same with like lo-fi
That's
like
weird
guys
though. Like I don't like presets. Like I don't do preset.
yeah
Yeah, I'm not a preset guy.
you
Like
don't even
I've
work
always
off of
have
them like you just make everything from scratch
been. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, like they're like I'll go through them, but like that's 20% of the time. Like
wow
80% of the time, I'm initial patch, and then
wow that's cool good for you
like even with effects, like I just like turn knobs until I like it. Like the default, like the best default preset ever is the Valhalla Reverb. Valhalla Room.
vintage oh Room
No, room. Yeah,
see
literally,
I'm
I
vintage
like
see I think Room sound like I like Room for some stuff but I vintage Verb is like
I like
99% of
room.
my and
Well, I
same
think I
default
use
pre
now. Yeah, now I like vintage verb, but I feel like room just has that like lexicon digital vibe, which is just so over the top.
yep
And then also it says it's like 2 seconds, but there's no way it's 2 seconds. It's like 20 seconds. It's like way longer than it should be,
Yeah.
you know? But like
Room or
literally that
vintage?
default preset is so fire. Like the one when you boot it up, it's just
Yep.
like
I mean,
the
but
best
all the Valhalla stuff when you, because the vintage is the same way. Literally, like I just put on the
yeah,
default preset, low cut it a little bit, and like change
yep.
the
The
time.
concert hall.
Yep. Yeah.
Concert hall.
Sometimes I change the room. Super massive.
Yeah, I found with yeah, Supermassive is sick.
That's
Did you get that? It was
somebody said
free. I
I
think
don't have it.
it's free.
Brosiaden, send that in the plugins chat in Discord so I can
Yeah, I
check
think
that
it's
out.
free.
Oh
Or it
shit.
was when it came out.
I've never heard
Now,
of
all
it.
their shit's
Oh,
like
it's
30
Valhalla.
bucks.
It's also Valhalla.
Yeah, dude. Super fire.
It's free. All right, I'll have to check
It's
that out.
like it's basically like the Eventide like black hole. So it's like delays and um you know, like weird spatial
I don't know
pitch
that one either. I
phaser.
I literally live under a rock. Like,
Dude, it's sick. It's but like okay, those presets I use because I don't. It is a preset plug. Like
yeah.
there are algorithms inside that are essentially presets.
Some
So
plugins
like,
definitely like are better for preset
yeah,
usage than others. Like,
yeah. But like Serum, like I don't use Serum presets. I
yeah.
like I try to get into it. You know, like I'll go in and make kick sounds with it with Serum, or
Oh wow.
like make a snare, and you know, like
Have you
I'm
used
like
Kick 2 from
I
Sonic
used to.
Academy?
Yeah, I used to, but I don't know why I quit using it. I don't know. No, I used to use the Nicky Romero one, like the
Yeah,
first one.
yeah, the first one. The
I
second
don't
one
think
is
I really used Kick too.
the second
Yeah,
one is so good. It's like the
it's a
first one
lot.
on
It's
stereo,
like everything.
and
Yeah,
yeah, it's got a lot more. It's got a lot more going on. But I really like, digging through kick samples can be like. I mean, obviously you probably have a few that like you like.
Yeah. I mean, I have like folders of stuff. I mean, my thing like ever since like a year or two ago has just been stealing samples. That's my favorite thing to do,
How so?
especially kick drum.
Like, do you just take them
Basically,
out of tracks?
all right. So this is I'm serious.
No,
there's
I believe it.
the best thing, dude. So I figured out how to split sounds like multi-band without getting any like crossover phase.
Okay.
So like so it sums to 0, right? Like so
Yeah.
whenever you use a multi-band limiter or a multi-band compressor or anything, and you were to like solo the bands, well, there's like EQ crossovers, right?
Mhm.
And in between those crossovers, depending on how steep, there's phase that gets introduced.
Mhm.
That's why like certain EQs have like linear phase mode and shit like that, you know.
Gotcha.
But basically, there's this Ableton rack. I'll throw it in the chat. There's this Ableton rack I found. Basically, there's this method for splitting frequencies by inverting the phase on one end and then split it and then invert the whole thing again so that it adds back up. And then you don't get any phase issues whatsoever. So like essentially if you were to use any kind of like multi-band thing and like solo the highs, do something on one track and then on the other solo the lows, if you bounced it back together, it wouldn't sound the same. Like there would be like phase issues. Like it sound like especially with kicks where phase is actually you hear it. Like with other sounds that who cares, but with kick drums like you lose all like the beef.
Yeah.
Whenever you try to like fuck with it, you know, like
Yeah.
on the when you split it like that. But with this way, you can literally take a track, you can cut the kick out, but then there'll be like sounds up top or like a hat or like whatever that dust and shit, and you copy it onto 4 different tracks, solo the low, low mid, highs, and then you cut the high one super tight, and then the second one a little bit longer, third one a little bit longer, and the lowest one you can leave it, and then when you play it back, it's literally just the kick. Nothing on it. Like all the other shit's gone, and then you can bounce it, and it's literally a perfectly extracted kick. It's so fire.
What
So
the
you can
fuck?
grab any song you want, especially with house music. So like, if you like, like there's a bunch of artists that have crazy like Biscuits. His kicks are insane. Like
Yeah,
Chris
I'm gonna need both the preset,
I
but
mean,
like
I'll give you my
also
whole
like
folder.
a 2-minute video explaining how to do this. Like
I'll make like a video on
you
how to do
should.
it.
You should.
My method is like low key fire. Like it's so good. I kind of stole the method from, there was this like Dyro video. I think it was Dyro for Arena Razer, the laptops. They did like the music tutorial
Yeah, I remember
videos.
those.
And there was one where he was showing you how to do that, but he was using the Fruity Loops like EQ or something, you know?
Wow.
And like it was, you know, you get all the phase issues, all that bullshit I was talking about.
So that's where
And
you
then,
get your kick drums from.
yeah, so basically I'll just go and steal kicks now instead of making them. But there was a time where like I would go and make my own kicks, but then it's like it gets to the point where it's like your idea of a good kick is just emulating songs that you like and think that have good kicks anyways.
Yeah.
So might as well steal them and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
No one's coming after you for a kick drum, you know.
Well, I've just done in the past, every once in a while you find a song where like the first downbeat of the intro is the kick drum. Like sometimes you can just grab the kick drum in house music, like you can just grab the kick drum right off the front before the hi-hat or whatever comes in.
That's what Sid was telling me. Like when I worked with him, he was just like, dude, I just like steal this shit. Like I just sample drums. It's fine. Like who cares? You know?
I mean, there's definitely a level of like whatever you can get away with. Like we're all very aware of what can be traced and what can't.
Oh,
you know?
exactly.
And what people can hear and what they can't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not like, you know, obviously don't be a dick about it. Don't go steal someone's ideas. Like there are grooves or like, you know, sounds that are super identifiable. Like don't do that. You know.
Yeah, I was
like
watching.
Hi-hats. Who cares? It's hi-hats. It's house hi-hats do all essentially the same shit.
I was watching a friend of mine, Matt Rad. He does like these, I guess weekly or whatever, like live streams on his Instagram, and he talks with another engineer, friend of his, and he was saying I think he said he was doing this. I don't think he said he should, like it was like an idea he could do, but he was like, I've done this where like, cause he mixes and masters a lot, and he'll just take, he'll send back to the producers whose track they are, he'll send back to them like bounced out samples of like their kick, their snare and everything with the mastering and everything on it. So they're just like fat samples, and then they can use them again, and then the next time it gets, you know, mixed and mastered, so then they just come out like even fatter like the next time and whatnot. But that was something that he was doing, like sending back producers like packs of their own samples, and he's like a big advocate for just like you should spend a day a week, you know, just bouncing out samples from all your tracks and like just building yourself a library so that like going forward.
No, that's what I did for sure. Like I have like the drums from Away. I kept those, you know, especially that kick, which is a kick that you.
Was that my kick?
Yeah. That it's like that super. That's got like that high end. That
I don't know which kick. I don't know which one of that. I mean, I know which kick I use that has like that sound. There's like one. You know, you just find one.
Really nice. It's like round, but it has this nice like click.
There's a handful of samples I've been using for literally 4 years. Like, you find them and it doesn't. You never grow out of it. Like, it's just like it becomes the expectation. And it's hard to like beat it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's the key. That's the key, man. They're like, because I mean, if you start reusing your own samples or like certain samples, then it becomes part of your sound. You know?
Yeah. No, I remember there was a point where I was doing like a lot of sessions, and they're mostly artist sessions, and I was like, the songs sounded very similar, and like you kind of do one, you know, and you're like, oh, this is cool, like probably not going to go anywhere, you know. And so we do another one and another session, you know, cool, probably not going to go, you know, similar sounds. And my old manager said like, you know, the stuff you've been doing lately, like it all sounds like kind of similar, you know. And I was like, well, none of them are coming out, like so yeah, we know there's 8 of them that sound the same, but like I'm still trying to find that one that uses these sounds that's actually going to make it out, and then it'll be new.
I mean, I have this folder on in my Dropbox, so I can like go and, you know, listen to it wherever. Because I pretty much like live out of Dropbox. Like,
yeah, likewise.
Yeah, and I'm sure you do too. You know, you do too. Yeah,
that's all I listen. That's all I listen to. Like, it's embarrassing.
No. Same. But I have this one ideas folder. It's like ever growing, like just literally minute long ideas. Like it's all my, you know, all my Fruity Loop ideas.
Yep.
all those song starters, and like a lot of them are just like one cool sound, and then, you know, I'll just leave them in this folder, and eventually I'll listen to it and be like, whoa, what was this? Or like this cool sound is sick. I'm gonna use it for this other track.
It's nuts when you write as much because you're in LA doing kind of the session. You know, I assume you do a decent amount of sessions, or at
Yeah,
least you
well,
have over the last few years.
yeah, not this year, but
Sometimes I sit there and I just get one night, like I just get into my Dropbox and I'm just like, holy shit.
I know.
There's so
Yeah, I
many
mean,
different
there
records.
was
Sometimes the song is great, but the production's shit, and sometimes the production's amazing, but the song is awful, and you're just like, wow, there's so much like good stuff in here.
no, there was a time like a few years ago where we were doing like crazy amounts of sessions, like 4 or 5 a week, like
Oh yeah,
cranking out songs,
that was
But
like
then it was
standard.
like it kind of like kept me from making my own music, like it like watered down my creativity, and then I started like being really good at bending and being a good producer,
Like
like
air,
bending.
water, fire.
No, like yeah, I mean, all of them. No, but like bending your sound and like your creativity, like being fluid. You know what I mean? Like
Like being able to switch
not
gears.
putting your identity on something, but
Yeah,
instead being like, so what should we do today? Or like,
yeah,
what's your vibe? And then like embellishing their vibe.
yep.
And then eventually you like look in the mirror and you're like, who am I? You know?
Mm-hmm.
you like don't you
That's
like
pretty
don't have
much
like a this is
what.
what I like, this is what I stand for.
That's pretty
And that
much.
kind of fucked me up. Like mentally, spiritually, like
Yeah,
it's not good.
I feel like I went through very much the same thing. They told me when I signed to my publisher that they were like, you know, they have a bit of a reputation for like signing people who have had like some cuts and then they just put them in such an immense amount of sessions that
Oh
like
yeah,
it yields nothing and I felt like that. I'd get into rooms and I'd be like, why am I in a Latin session? I've never
like
written a
what?
Latin
Yeah,
song. Like
like
there
it's
are other
fun,
people.
cool, but
Yeah, it's cool like once, but like I'd just be
yeah,
like sitting there and I'd be like, why am I here? And like sometimes you get in and it'd be like you and two top liners and they're both like melody and neither of them do lyrics. And it's like, why, like who puts these together and like
yeah.
doesn't
No, I've been
know.
in yeah sessions, dude. Like especially with just doing the LA thing.
Well, you
But
said Zoom. You got the camera for Zoom sessions. Have you? How? Like, I
yeah,
haven't done
yeah.
a
So I've been
single
doing
Zoom
Zoom
session.
sessions. Like not like I mean, I've been spending a lot of time in Atlanta too, so I'll do a lot of Zoom sessions on my laptop too. But yeah, basically like working with people who have who can record themselves and writing that way. But I mean,
Are those
so
mostly with
far it's
artists
like
or songwriters or?
like songwriters.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that
there's a
seems.
few artists I've worked with over Zoom, but like it's not like it's hard. It's like being a fucking writer or a producer who doesn't have an artist project right now. It sucks. Like I don't know what you know
How so?
like this year is just fucking difficult.
Oh,
Well,
also
because like
Rosenthal asked, "Do you use Audio Movers plugin?"
so Adam, my roommate, does. But I think I grabbed it, but I forgot to use it. I mean, I'm cool. Like, honestly, Zoom works fine.
What
Like,
is
there's no
Audio
like,
Mover? I'm not familiar with the plugin. Does it just share your
it's a
audio with
plugin
somebody
you
else?
put on your master, and then they can hear it in real time. Like, there's no latency.
Oh, cool.
Like, it's fucking instant. And like, I
Through
mean,
where? How
Zoom
do
has
they
a
hear it?
little bit
How
of
do they hear
latency,
it?
but and the quality is really really good.
How do they hear it?
Like,
Do they put the plugin somewhere too,
I think I don't know. Let's look it up.
or does it stream to like the internet, or I don't know.
No, I think they download it,
Oh, you open the
plug
browser.
it on their end, and then you both like you
That's
can
cool.
collab
That's pretty
through this
cool.
this thing. Like you can literally do sessions, but I don't know. Can you control their computer?
No, I don't think so. He said you just listened in like a browser or something like that.
Just listen. Yeah,
You were gonna
yeah.
say
No,
something else there.
I just screen share on Zoom, and it works fine. Like all the for writing. It's like most songwriters can't fucking hear the difference between like you know like
Yeah, they just
they
need
can hear it
chords.
clear. Yeah, you know, you
Yeah.
make it sound
So
clear.
you were saying about the artist or producer and everything like that, and I wanted to ask like what was your year supposed to look like, And how did
Dude,
it end up? And then how did it end up? Like, what if everything went normal this year? What was, what was the game plan, and what
I
ended up
mean, like,
happening?
yeah, I came into this year hot. Like, I had fucking releases. Like, everything was good. I was doing like shows. Like, my momentum was like going. You know, like things were like starting to pick
What
up. You know,
agency are
like
you with?
I'm a spin.
Okay, cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to them in months.
yeah,
It's like insane. Like literally, as of February, it's like everything just got fucked.
yep. So
Like
you
I did my
had,
last show was in January or
yep.
maybe February, but that was it, and then it was game over.
That feels like a minute. I went out and did it. Like I opened for Morgan Page at Exchange in January, and that
Mhm.
feels like years ago.
Like my last show I think was in San Francisco with Throttle. And that was it.
Wow. So yeah,
Yeah,
you had all your releases, you had touring planned, and just
and then
one day
all
you
that.
realize none of that's gonna happen. So then what?
Yeah, and then it's like all my releases just came out, and then it was like without the shows, it's like I got like demoralized. You know, I was just like, well, what's the point of like? Does anyone even want to hear fucking
Well,
club
you're
music?
making like club music, and also like there's club
You
music
can't
being
play it
streamed
out.
on Twitch like 24/7. So it's just like
And
my
yeah,
brother
it's like
loves club
okay, am I gonna
music.
like compete? Am I gonna just like join the fucking wall of Twitch streamers, doing DJ sets, or do I like just wait? Like, do I just make tunes and keep them and for when shit opens back up? Like, well, I don't even know when it's gonna open back up. I was like thinking, maybe by the end of the summer, like it'll open back, and
Yeah, I
here
was
we
gonna
are.
ask what was your like? Because
Exactly.
I accepted like in March, like end of March, April. I was like, I'm gonna pretend like this is going on forever, because I just like everybody's like, oh, end of like it's gonna go away in the summer, and I was like, cool, if it does, great. But like I'm gonna just pretend as though this is gonna go through 2021, and that's been like my approach to everything because.
That's smart. Yeah. Yeah, man, because it's gonna go until at least spring.
Hmm.
Very best case scenario of April, things start to get better, but
Yeah.
uh, I think like we're fucked till summer.
I mean, I was supposed to play Tomorrowland in July this year, like
Yeah, I
this
mean, dude,
past
they're
July.
booking out EDC. Like I had friends that were playing EDC,
Well, they
so like
moved
they're
everything.
knowing what's happening.
They
So
moved everything for tomorrow. They just took the whole lineup and said, we're not paying anybody this year, like same lineup next year.
like
And so
tune
like
lineup, everybody's good for next year
so
then.
I'm still technically booked for Tomorrowland next July, and I'm like, I don't.
I mean, dude, hopefully, I mean,
I'm gonna have to
if you
show
have,
up 2 weeks early and spend those 2 weeks in a hotel. Like I would bet that like because we're not gonna get the vaccine, fat. Like I mean I don't know. Like unless I can get vaccinated, I bet I end up if they do it, it'll be like a 2 week quarantine. It's gonna be a whole mess.
I mean, yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. So, and that's got to be tough, like, because you did a lot of club releases, and so you're
Oh
just
yeah,
like, that was kind of how my year was like. I mean, I was literally like about to like get an agent. I've never done a lot of touring, and like I don't have an agent in the U.S. right now, and so I was about to
right.
like lock in with somebody in the spring, and then literally like everything happened, and it was just like, well, I'm not even following up on this.
No, I know. It's same. I mean, I actually never had an agent overseas, which hopefully changes once things start getting better.
Yeah,
But in the U.S. it was, or North America, like things are starting to like get better, and like things are starting to like really, like I was really feeling like momentum was picking up, and like
yeah,
we're like catching a nice little stride,
yeah.
and then
I mean, hell, my fucking EP came out at the beginning of like. I mean, I was kind of in a similar boat. EP came out in like February, and then it was like I had all these club releases. Like I knew I was gonna get out of my label deal, and I was just gonna drop a bunch of like more clubby kind of things, and like get on board with an agent, and yeah, like that all went out the door.
dude, that like so on the bright side, it did like I did like kind of have this shift in mentality where like I quit giving a shit as much.
Yeah,
Like one thing I realized is I'm the kind of person that I have like a fire under my ass at all times, which that isn't great for anxiety and all that.
no, but it's
Uh,
good for getting shit done.
yeah, it's great for getting shit done, but I always felt like the clock is ticking, or like time's running out, you know,
Yep.
like especially when you're friends with fucking like people who are 10 times as successful and like 5 years younger than you, and you're like, you know, like
Yeah.
we gotta, you know, like,
Yeah.
like, you know. And then after this, I just realized like none of that shit matters. Like nothing matters. Like nothing really matters. Like you just do, like literally, like
No,
who
you're
gives
right.
a
I had
fuck?
that written on my whiteboard for like quite some time. It's like most
I'm serious.
things don't matter.
Like yeah, like nothing really matters. Like I'm at peace with anything. Like everything that has happened and will happen. Like I don't give a shit. Like
There you
I'm
go.
just like because for a minute I was like not making music like as much. You know, like I was
Like
making
when?
my ideas, putting stuff together, and then rap. Like I was really mainly just wrapping up songs that I already
I
started.
thought you were gonna say
You know.
rapping, like rapping.
Yeah, yeah. I started my rap career.
So you were rapping.
Uh,
When was that? Like this year? You're talking about?
yeah, like a few months in, especially during all like the Black Lives Matter stuff. I'm like, who the fuck wants to hear my music when like
That was
there's
a
like
tough month of
really
just like,
serious social issues going on, and like
yeah,
there's all this shit going on in social media. It's like, the fuck am I gonna post? Hey guys, check out my DJ
yeah.
set on the street. You know what I mean?
Everyone I
Like
talked to in that time was just like, yeah, I'm just trying to like do my part and just putting music on hold for a bit because
right, yeah. It's like when the world's fucking going to shit. How are you gonna like yell, hey, pay attention to
I
me?
think somebody was like, yeah, I feel like the like like the bagpipe player or like whatever, like the instrument, like who's like in the middle of a war, and you're just like
No,
there, like
no,
playing
no, for real. Like,
music. People are just like, dude,
like,
like,
like going into battle. I'm like, talk
it's just
about the
like
worst job
not
ever.
right
Can you imagine?
now.
They're like, all right, like
That's
in the
actually a
fucking
Dane Cook.
Revolutionary War.
That's a Dane Cook bit, isn't it? Like war flute or something like that. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
was watched or listened to Dane Cook, but I'm 99% sure that that's a
Oh
Dane
my
Cook
god.
bit.
Yeah. Wow. The
Like,
throwback. Yeah. I
do
kind of remember that. He's talking about fucking.
yeah, and dancing around and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, somebody just said about David Guetta and his referring
Oh
to
my
his
god, dude, that was
yeah,
bad.
it's like
Oh
what
my
not
god,
to do.
that was bad. I forgot. I already
Oh
blocked
my
that shit
god,
out. Yeah, exactly what not to do. That was
he's
just
like a
like,
walking meme. It's so funny.
I know. Like, God bless him. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many just good memes that came from him.
So you said you weren't making as much music for a while, and like what, like I feel like that's a normal phase to go through this year, especially.
Yeah, I
What
was
kind
just
of
like,
brought you back around? Was it the not caring?
yeah, it was like this the epiphany that like nothing matters,
Yeah,
and it was just in a weird way is like really nice. It's like this weight lifted off your shoulder, you know,
yeah.
like because I'm a competitive person, so if I'm like,
When you're in a
if
competitive
I feel
place
like my
too,
friends and
it's
other
hard to
people
avoid
like,
there.
yeah, like not to compare anything, because comparison's literally the devil, but like you can't help it, and that is a good thing a lot of times because you're pushing yourself to do better, to you know, but it also kills your fucking happiness and your creativity and all that shit. But like at a certain point when you're just like, you know, when you quit really caring too much like that, you quit like comparing yourself, and then all of a sudden you're like doing much better. Like you're like making better music and
Yep.
making more music and somehow being more productive by not giving a shit. It's totally counterintuitive,
It's
but
always hard. It's always hard to keep that perspective because, like, you listen to some music and it's like, wow, this is so like pro. It's so polished. The ear candy, the sound design, like everything about it, And then like you'll listen to stuff that's like equally, if not maybe more popular than some of that, and it's like, this is like the most underproduced, half baked, like like people who don't make music don't know the difference between like I always think about the Chainsmokers like mixes early on, like they weren't like their tracks are
yeah,
never like super well mixed, like in my opinion at least, compared to like other, it didn't have that clean sound like all other dance music had, but there was just something like kind of authentic about that. And
yeah, like if you were to like who's just insane, like especially with like that kind of, because I'm not big. I mean, I'm like I love house music. I'm like I'm more into like super cool shit. So like this like super poppy stuff doesn't really like give me an ear boner like that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all music, obviously, and like I fuck with good music in general, you know.
Yep.
But like, yeah, if you compare like I don't know, like the Chainsmokers to like Elenium, like Elenium's fucking ridiculous, you know. Like listen to his music, it's like perfectly engineered. Everything's like it's like really fucking good.
Yeah.
But like
Odessa, I always like think of Odessa with that. Like
Chainsmokers
it's
are like a little bigger.
yeah.
Like why? Like why is
Yeah.
it like why is it like what's that? You know?
Yeah. No, I mean you can fit in like literally anywhere on the spectrum.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter. Like you'll fit in where you're supposed to fit in. You can't control that shit.
It's hard not to feel like regular releases and social media and those things haven't become like slightly more important than like having a great mix engineer, or like if your song has something that's like, you know, piercingly bad that like gets in the way of people listening to it, like,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
that's an
as long as
issue. But
it's not like as long as it's not like horrendous, you know, and like you and those are pretty. That's pretty obvious.
yeah.
Like if it's like horrendously bad, like it's probably not the mix. It's probably the actual music, you know, or sound choice, you know. It's like
Yep.
you probably might make it way better just by replacing the, you know, the bad kick sample with like a good kick sample.
Yep.
Do nothing to it, and it probably makes the whole song better.
Hell,
I do that shit all the time.
my biggest
Like,
concern is always the volume, just the track not being too loud that it gets turned down too much, and not being too quiet. That's like if it fits there.
That's like a big thing, especially with club music. I don't think it matters if it's like a streaming record, like if it's a vocal record.
Yeah.
Like there are songs I personally like don't mix as loud because they're meant for Spotify, and like I'll play out a club version of them, you know, or like the extended version will be louder, you know, like I'll master that way louder. So I mix and master all my shit and like other people's music too.
Yep.
And loudness is obviously the number one factor. It's like, how do you get this song as loud as possible without fucking it up? So it's like this, like, because sound is like this box, you know?
Yep.
And when it's digital, 0 is the ceiling, and then you got the walls and the sides and everything, and you're like, how do I fucking put everything in this box and just push everything to the ceiling, to the floor, to the sides, front to the back, like all the way, fill it all the way.
Yep.
And it's a -4.
Yeah, I mean half the time, like, I mean, one of the barometers that I use is just dropping in and looking at the waveform compared to the waveform of tracks that I think are the that I think are good volume. It's like just put them next to each other in Ableton. Be like, oh, mine's too big. Or
That's always my final step.
It's a little bit smaller.
I'll drop I'll bounce it as an MP3 so I can hear it as an MP3 because that's how it'll get played out.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'll drop it into just a blank Fruity Loops thing, and then I have this folder in my Dropbox of just songs I download through InFlight or, you know, Beatport or whatever.
What is InFlight?
InFlight's like the DJ promo thing. It's like a website, like app. It's not a pool. It's a promo like inbox.
Okay.
Basically, like instead of like downloading promos from your email, they streamlined it, and like you can subscribe to the promo services like Infectious and all the ones that labels pay.
Gotcha.
And they blast them out to like their VIP lists and all that shit. It's actually super handy when you have your own label. Like we've been building one out, and we've got like a bunch of sick DJ, like Chami and Wax Motif and like all these, you know, a bunch of the house guys.
You said
so
InFlight?
InFlight's the shit. Yeah, dude, it's like it's how I listen to all the new music before it comes out.
Oh,
like,
cool.
A month before it comes out, they'll blast it.
Oh wow,
usually
that's
like
awesome.
weeks out, they blast it, and then
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I did not.
They'll tell you like don't play it on the radio or like no mixed shows like online.
Yeah, it's like
date.
What's that called in video games when they don't know reviews? You know.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They send out a copy, but it's like, you know, they can't post reviews until the day it releases.
Don't upload
like
any video to YouTube yet until this date. It's like that. Yeah.
I use like Benzi's site. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I used to. Yeah, I quit paying for it this year because I mean it's like $40 a month or something.
I bought like the lifetime. My account's good until 2099 or something like that.
Give me that login.
I can. That's how I used it for a long time. Was my friend just my homie
Yeah,
just paid for it? Yeah, and he was
yeah.
like,
I
check
paid
this
for it
out.
for years.
But he did a
That was
really
the
good
thing.
deal on it, and I was like, for a lifetime, like, sure. I'm not good enough at finding music. I find a lot of good. I found a lot of good
Oh,
stuff
dude,
on
it
there
was like
just because.
you're spoon fed all the dope shit. It's great.
Yeah.
Like, and the mashups are fire on that.
I see. It's also better for like trap and stuff. Like it's good for house
Way better.
music, but it's like definitely like great for just like trap and hip hop. And
Yeah.
I think like open format DJs probably benefit a
Oh,
lot
big
more from
time.
that. Speaking of which, Ben Adams asked in the chat, how do you be a producer slash DJ when social media is not your thing? Which I don't know if that's a rhetorical question or not.
I mean, honestly, I'm the worst. I'm like the wrong guy to ask because
Yeah,
I'm.
we're both kind of well. That's the thing is I'm laughing at like because I think we're both kind of on the side of like we're not social media gurus.
I'm horrible. Like I should be better at it, and my manager yells at me all the time for it, and I get, like I yell at me for it in my head. I'm like, be better, take more photos, and I'm just like, I'm not that guy. But like, you do have to be, so you got to do that at least the bare
Gotta do
minimum,
some, yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it's like there's plenty of artists that don't even have, like Frank Ocean doesn't even have a fucking, you know.
Yeah. There's always the outliers, you know? Like there's people who find success without doing it.
Yeah.
When I moved back to Pittsburgh,
Calvin Harris was like popping before he had Instagram. You know what I mean? Like
who?
Calvin Harris, he was popping
Oh
before
yeah.
Instagram. It's
It's
like,
also a different also just like those were different times. Like everything's changes so fast. I mean like I think about where Spotify was 5 years ago,
that's true.
4 years ago versus where it is now. I mean like I had the number one viral song on Spotify for like 5 days, like US, worldwide, like 10 different countries. That
No,
means nothing. That meant absolutely nothing for my career. Like at this point, like it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Even though at the time it was like that was a huge thing. But like you have about a couple month window to capitalize, and if you don't, then
I mean, yeah,
adios.
I feel like even like with a smash, I mean, okay, unless you have like a fucking smash, like Loud Luxury,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, of
Andrew
course.
and Joe.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
like
I don't know them personally, but I've conversed a little bit with them on email.
like they had like Body like just became a fucking global smash, and that like they were like steadily climbing, and
Mm-hmm.
then that just fucking took them to
That's
that
where the
level.
regularity like
So, like
of
that, a
just doing
smash will
stuff.
do that, But
Yeah.
like if you don't have a smash, it's just gonna be level by level,
Well,
to get where you're going,
and what
and eventually
happens
you'll end up in the same place, like. And if you don't keep coming with smashes, you're not gonna stay at that level all the time. You're gonna wax and wane.
and there is a natural like nobody just climbs
No one's just trying to
forever.
flow or fucking Calvin Harris. Like no one's just gonna be like shitting hits every year all year long. Like
Well, and I think what happens in dance music a lot of the time is like I always use like cheat codes kind of as the example. Like they had like I think
right,
like there was No Promises number one at radio I think at some point, or it was really high up there and was getting so much airtime, and it's like nobody knows. Very few people know that that was a cheat code song. People think of it. I say No Promises by Cheat
it
Codes.
gets
People are
confusing
like,
with records. Yeah, I
people
feel
think
like
it's
that
Demi
was
Lovato, like it's just Demi Lovato, and like that's the big issue. Like as DJs, is like being able to convert like a successful song into like actual like
if
fans.
people see this shit on, let's say it comes on BPM, right? You're driving in your car, you're listening to Sirius XM, cheat codes. It's I don't know, like let's say whatever. I mean, any artist like featuring the DJ or the DJ featuring whatever, but they see that name and they think they're a vocalist
Mm-hmm.
if they don't know that music at all,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's really pop oriented
Yep.
and it's not so much like crazy track, like it doesn't have like crazy sounds. I feel like regular people hear it and they go, "That's a pop record," and they just think that that's a pop artist, and like
I'll
it's
never.
hard for that to translate to like live shows and selling
Mm-hmm.
hard tickets or being a club act,
I'll never forget being in high school and like one of my friends being like, "Who is David Guetta? Like he doesn't even sing. Like where is he on this track? You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's Sia. Like who is David Guetta?"
Why did David get on this?
Chicken Nugget EDM asked what your favorite FL stock plugin is.
Oh, shit. Parametric EQ2.
Parametric and EQ.
So high. Best EQ ever. So good.
Parametric EQ2. There
And
you
then
go.
I have the like, so you can like save like every FL Studio, every plugin in general, FL Studio, you can save presets inside of the wrapper,
Yeah.
like inside of the actual thing. So you can save default, just like in Ableton, you right click and go set as default.
Mm-hmm.
So I just took like the far right band and the far left bands and made them like nice tight shelves,
Yep.
like, or not shelves, cutoffs.
Yeah.
I just have one band in the middle, and then I save that as the default. So every time I open it,
That's nice.
I pull one to cut the lows off, or pull one to cut the highs off. And
It's
then,
the
like,
little things,
one little adjustment, and that's it. And like I do that on every track. Like I just like will shave, like that's always my go-to, shave like the air off the low end on sounds that aren't bass sounds. That way the bass has all the room and can just like,
Yep. Poseidon says they're updating parametric EQ soon.
Ooh, I hope they make it look better.
It's the
Like,
little things. It's the little
the
things.
actual like way it works is sick. It's like a heat map instead of an actual waveform. It like shows up like a heat map.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
like the brighter it is, the louder it is. It's actually really cool. There's no other plugin really that does that. It's kind of like sick.
Lots of
I don't know
questions.
if it came up on Fruity Loops that I love that, but I think it's sick. Like,
So, because I like Pro Q because of the way that it visually
yeah.
being able to use, like, I don't know, it's just so, and being able to click, like, Slate just released a new EQ, and it
Yeah, I
looks,
saw that.
but it's like, Pro Q is so, like, easy, like, it just feels like almost like if there was a touchscreen, like, version of an EQ, like, it's just so easy to, like, move, you're not, like, changing the numbers and whatnot, you can grab it,
Right.
move it, shape it, everything like that, whereas, like, other EQs, like, they look good, and, probably have a different sound, but, like, it's so different for me to like figure out just the UI. Like I'm so used to the Pro Q how it's used.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I think I've been using Pro Q more and more because when I'm finishing tracks in Ableton,
You
I
don't
use
have
that
you don't have
over the
those.
stock. Yeah, I just don't like the Ableton. It's too little. It's like,
I try to use as few Ableton stock plug. There's a few of them and a few purposes for them, but like I just know when I was first like finishing music and I put like the Ableton limiter on something, and then like when I like stopped doing that and put like the waves limit, it's so bad. And so I just like between that, the EQ, like I don't like the reverb at all. I
no,
really
I
don't
don't.
like the Ableton reverb.
I love the multiband compressor.
I
Like,
use
there's
the
a
Pro
preset.
MB.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the best. I mean, I use
It's
the like
insane.
multiple of the same thing, but with different
Different ones for
brands.
different purposes,
Yeah, like I feel like Pro MB is sick, but it has latency. So I try not to use it on individual tracks because it fucks with your sidechain.
Does
If
it?
it like if you use too many of them, you're gonna end up with like crazy track delay compensation or PDC or whatever.
Huh. I have an 18 core processor, so I don't run into a lot of like it's kind of ridiculous the amount of stuff that I can do on
You'll
my
notice there are times where you're like, why does the oh wait, okay. How do you do sidechain?
Ableton compressor at the end of the chain, like after everything.
Yeah, you're not using volume shaper
I use
or
track spacer sometimes.
or whatever.
I use
Yeah,
track
track space.
spacer. I use track spacer sometimes.
So the plug-in delay compensation solves that, right? Because what it does is it adds up whatever track has the most latency, and then it delays all the other tracks accordingly.
Yeah.
So the more you add, and the more tracks that have
Pro MB.
like Pro MB, or if you use the linear phase mode on Pro Q, it always delays there's latency on the plugin.
Gotcha.
And even at the lowest setting, it's like dynamic phase or whatever on Pro MB, it's like 30 milliseconds. It's like too long. And like I
Interesting.
don't like. Yeah, and then you can't play keyboard right. It's like I just don't love that.
I turn off the delay when recording or something like that. There's like a setting for that in Ableton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like under options. I did it the other day and somebody was like, "Holy shit, I never knew that was there." But it's like
Oh,
if you
wait,
go
yeah,
like
put me onto something.
under options, hold on, I think let me see if Ableton's open. I think it's under options and then it's like reduce delay compensation when record enabled or something like it's something like that.
Wait, let me see. Let me look at this.
I don't have. I'll open Ableton real quick.
This is probably like some shit that you learn like in like year one of like producing school that I never went to.
I don't know. It's pretty obscure. I don't know. Well, we figured that out. There were a couple other random like bits in here. Kind of off topic, but did we see the new Arturia synth plugins? The Juno one looks
Fire.
interesting. Have you seen those?
I mean, because I was just talking about. I asked my roommate Adam Novador. He goes by Novador.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Do you see the new Arturia?" And I was like, "Dude, they released a Juno," and he was like, "Yeah, but like we have the Tell Juno plugin, which is honestly the shit. Like I've been using that for years. Like it's honestly like the best synth plugin ever."
That's free too, isn't it?
No.
No,
They have a free version, but the full featured one is like it's cheap though. All
it's
their
still
plugins
cheap.
are cheap.
Have you gotten Golfos? Are you familiar with it?
No,
You'll have to
is it
check.
sick?
Yeah, it's like it's some like I don't know, some AI learning like thing that there's like four controls. You put it on the master. You can put it on other things too, and it
I
just
try.
like
I just like to do everything myself. Like I just don't fuck with AI bullshit. Like I'm just like OG. I don't know.
no, it's great because I feel like you can still do all that stuff, and it's the kind of thing you can put on afterwards and just like tweak it a little bit and it might
Right.
it could just like it I don't know, you have to watch I'm not good at explaining it, like you just definitely just have to watch like the
Okay, yeah.
video
I've seen it. I've seen
and
it
see
for
it.
sure.
I waited to get it and somebody told me, my friend Andy, he said like Golfos and Soothe, uh
Soothe.
he
That's the
was
next
like
one.
those he said those two plugins, like he was doing a bunch of work with Pensado for a while and he was just like those were the two plugins that like I came away from that
I'm gonna
relationship and was
check
like
it out.
I
Yeah,
have to
I'm
have
gonna
both
need
of
it too,
those.
for sure. Because I need something like a D harsher. Like because I'm like I go in with Pro Q and then I put it in dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I make one of the I'll just grab like one small band, make it really tight, and then put it in dynamic and then sweep through it. I think if you hold Alt or Control, I can't remember. I just kind of do it, but it solos the band and you can hear it. So
Yeah.
it'll be like, and you find that frequency that's like
Yep.
you know, and then I'll just like pull the dynamic down. So whenever that sound does happen, the EQ just hits it,
Yep.
and then it's basically like a de-esser for
Since I upgraded to my focals, I don't know.
I
Um,
just say people, but they're
focal.
friends.
I say everything weird, like until somebody else says it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. But since I
Right.
got those, I love just sitting there and just doing like those notch EQs, especially on vocals and whatnot, and just like
Oh,
go. Then you A/B it, and you're like, wow, I just made this like so much less like piercing.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's rewarding doing it yourself.
Well, because I also like boost and then DS and then boost and then DS and then one of those on the like it's the stupidest combination of like all those
Yeah, like,
things.
I just like I don't know, like I got into modular shit like in the last year or two.
Oh hell yeah!
Um, yeah,
I was
like I
gonna
have
ask you
some.
about that actually.
Yeah, yeah, I've got like a bunch of IntelliGel and mutable instrument stuff, and
Nice.
something like that's. And then I also got into because this is honestly people need to be talking about this, but it's called VCV Rack. It's the best thing ever. But if you're into shit like this, like
VCU.
it's
Well, I started doing
VCU,
more modular stuff this year.
but
I think I've
yeah,
heard. I think they told me. I think chat told me about VCU.
VCV Rack is so sick. It's basically a digital. It's open source first off, so it's free.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what they
purchase it.
literally. He said that, and they're like in chat. They like it.
It's literally free. It's fucking amazing. Um, and it's like you can patch around and like it's like having fucking $1 million worth of modules, and
Modules.
then you can like unplug them and put new ones in every with a click of a button. That's insane. Like the only thing is there's no VST support. Like you can't load it inside of Ableton.
Oh, it's just a
So
standalone like.
you have to download the Bridge plugin, load that in Ableton, and then it sends audio from the output into Ableton. You can record it. But like
Gotcha.
honestly, because it's not a MIDI thing and you can change it later, you're stuck with what you record. It
Yeah.
makes you make shit. Like I just hit record, leave it on record for 30 minutes and play around with knobs. I'll build a cool patch, play around with knobs, and then go back and sweep through it, cut it up, and it'll like I've made tons of crazy tracks with like
I mean,
tracks
that's
that even like rap, like I made like rap records where like the lead is just this fucking crazy lead sound. It's like this weird mutated thing.
that's like the weird thing with modular that you have to like accept is just like these are one-time sounds. Like there's no like I have a Pittsburgh modular and it's like whatever you make, and there's no banks, there's no saving it.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is.
It's so sick. Like I love that. I love things that make things unnecessarily hard. I think it's beautiful.
Well, and I spent some time like I did some streams this year doing Reactor and like using the Reactor blocks and whatnot. And it's like you can make the same sound in Reactor that you would make in something else. It just sounds fat. It just sounds so fat. Like they just have like a fat, like they just have a kind of like a rawness to them that like a square wave or a saw wave in Serum, as good as Serum is, just doesn't sound the same coming out of like those modular synths.
Yeah, something about analog is just like fucking.
Well, even just the digital version, like I don't know, there's just more like there's just a little extra sauce on those. They put more, I think, time into the waveforms or something like that, like on the modular.
Yeah. Also, like I have the Moog and the Korg MS-20 is fucking insane.
Oh yeah.
Or the 20 Mini, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like $300.
I know a lot of people like that.
It's 2 oscillators and that's it. And it's just like fat sawtooth, like square, triangle. You can do like, sync and all that shit.
Yep.
But it's insane. I made like crazy ass sounds with that. Because it's like in front of you and you can twist knobs and like play with it more versus at some point you just tired of clicking, I feel like we just twist knobs until we're tired of clicking and then that's how we decide we like it.
Yep.
For
sure.
Here you'll just twist it until you're like, all right. I feel like you spend more time with it. I don't know.
I finally went and set up like a template. Like I've never worked off a template. I always work off the default Ableton, like just an audio and a MIDI track and whatnot. But I finally went through and like set up a template, and it is nice. I use my synths more because of that, because there's like tracks set up that already have the MIDI and the audio routed to. I have a Korg.
You're ready to go. That's how I would do it.
I have a mini log and I have this Pittsburgh modular. Like it's just a full self-contained unit. You can add other ones to it, but it has oscillators, mixer.
But I live in LA and they want you to pay fucking insane amounts of money for a shoebox. But like I'm in my bedroom, as you can see. Like if I had room and I had my synths behind me, I would have them routed. But the way I have them is they're on my little shelf right here. And then
I just have two little ones. They take up very little space.
Pull one out, and then I just like hook it up and I fuck with it probably for a few days and then I put it away.
Yep.
That's
you kind of go through phases where you're just like, oh, I'm gonna like learn this synth this week, and then the next week you have stuff to do and
like I had this one because I saw that Riton Retone, whatever the fuck you say his name is, that
who
the DJ Retone, Riton.
Oh yeah.
He did that one song with Kahlo. Fuck is it called?
I have no clue.
Fuck, I'm blanking on the name.
It'll come to you.
I think it was Fake ID.
That might actually be the one that I know.
He did Rinse and Repeat,
Mm-hmm.
Time to make the club go up. Yeah, Fake ID. This one. I don't know if you can hear this.
Tell the man not to waste your time. If the man broke, the man.
This is perfect. It's cutting in and out, but we won't get DMCA'd now.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, whatever. The sound in that track, I was like, fuck, that's the coolest sound ever. And then he like did some future music thing where he was showing off his studio. And he made the sound with this little box which I literally found a kit online and had this guy at this synth shop in LA build it for me.
Oh my god.
Like I found the kit for like $300, and then I had him build it for like $250. So
Oh wow.
these go for like
This is a good
$2
cost
grand.
for labor.
Yeah, it's the Pearl Syncussion SY1,
Wow.
and it's like it's like a techno box. Like it just makes the craziest, like it's like all analog. Like
That's dope.
it's a drum synth, so you don't get any good like tunable things. It's all out of tune. So it's like you get the craziest fucking sound.
That's cool.
And then you just chop it up.
And drum synth would be cool. That might be the next thing on my list.
Yeah, so when you're talking about Reactor, I built a Reactor patch. Like because Reactor, there's the blocks and all that. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what stuff I was talking about.
Underneath that, the real Reactor, it's called the Core.
Mm-hmm.
Core library,
Mm-hmm.
and those are like the real modules. Like you have to know a little bit of like, it's like their version of it's like their like.
Are you talking about like Monarch and Prism and all those? Or...
No, it's like if you were to like go underneath the hood and see exactly how it works. Like,
oh yeah, the like more complex view or whatever.
More complex view. It looks like Max for Lab. It's like their version of Max for Lab.
I know what you're talking
and
about.
You can make knobs, and then make like your own oscillators, like a sine generator, and then make those change the amplitude or the frequency of another sine, and create your own FM synth. So I made my own little FM drum synth.
Oh my god!
It makes like tom sound.
That's
but
dope.
Like distorted, atonal, fucking weird toms. That's sick. Like
that's like still above my pay grade. I'm still just trying to grasp like the regular modular view.
Oh, I fucking love it. I'm like so into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A question from a little bit ago. Brockelbank asked, "How's exploring 4D, 3D work going?" Pretty sure that you're doing that. He said. And does exploring other mediums impact your music?
Honestly, it's like, especially when you're able to release your own music, it's like the best when you can do it all yourself. That's why I'm just like, I'm the kind of guy where it's like, if I get into something, I have to learn it. Like I just have to. Like, I'm like all or nothing,
Yep.
Like, which is annoying because it probably takes away time from music, but I don't give a shit.
You got to do other stuff. You can't just do music.
Yeah, and I fucking love crazy visuals, especially like live. So I designed all my own live visuals. So like whenever I play shows, I have my own shit, like, and I can change the vibe. Like, I have like certain clips that are like, I even tell the VJ before I play, I'm like, yo, there's, they're all labeled and everything. There's like dark ones. So like whenever you hear me start to go dark and I'm like playing more heavy shit, more like crazier stuff, like
use the dark visuals.
It's all dark, crazy, And then whenever I'm playing like more housey, happier shit, there's really colorful ones with like neon and shit. It's like,
that's awesome.
There's like, and like I made them all myself, just from watching YouTube videos and like learning Blender and Cinema 4D and like Octane Render, which is its like own beast.
That's Brockelbank who asked the question. He like does a lot of 3D rendering and has done like a lot of visuals, and I know all those terms from him telling me things that I'm just like,
you're like, yeah,
cool.
It's like when we talk music, like certain people are like, oh, is that good? That's good. Oh, yeah.
That's dope though. I know one of the biggest,
because I got some NVIDIA. Well, now they released the fucking 30 series.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what GPU you have.
I got two 2070s.
Oh my god, two
with the SLI.
You're an animal.
It's fucking awesome, bro.
You could sell those for like the cost of a vehicle now. Like the GPUs are sold out. Like you can get like a 1050 Ti, but like literally the entire 20 series, 30 series, they're all sold out.
Everyone's gaming and like just
that, but also
metals and like what's the deal? Like
crypto, I'm pretty sure, because like GPUs are used to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah, people are mining with them. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that combined, and then the 30 series. Like I think that their production just got fucked this year. Like the production chain got messed up this year because of.
I'm just gonna wait. I mean, I'm happy with it now.
I mean, that's a pretty good. Those are, if you look at the graphics card hierarchy, those have pretty good.
Bang for buck, this 2070 is where to go. Like
The 70 series tends to be like the kind of happy medium.
Get the 2080, 128, or you can save $100, get two 2070s and bridge them, and then you get like the amount of power of like 1.5 2080s TIs.
Jeez, yeah, that's crazy.
So it's like it's pretty fucking sick.
That's awesome.
And like, I mean, this is like really technical shit, but with renderers, they use basically your shittiest GPU is like the bottleneck.
Yeah.
So like
tends to be how bottlenecks work.
Yeah, it's like
Sorry.
So you're fucked. Like if you try to like add in an upgrade, if you like upgrade your card, you can't just bridge them. It's like you're just fucked. Like.
And it doesn't make any sense to have the night unless you're planning to upgrade the lower card at some point to the same one. Like it doesn't.
You have to sell both of them and get it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait until the 3080 is like really cheap, or wait till they drop the price. I mean, they're already pretty cheap. That's
they're reasonable. I mean, they're like $600, or maybe 700. I don't know.
Yeah, and then I'll just get a pair of those bad boys, and then we'll be rendering shit in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I honestly don't care, dude. This computer is so quiet. It's like I have a Razer Blade, which was my main rig, and I used to have it on we were talking about this earlier, but I had it like a Amazon like fan laptop, and the fucking thing sounds like a jet is taking off.
Mm-hmm. That's like over in the corner right now, my streaming, because the processor on the computer is shit, and so it's just like the fan is just running, and then the fan underneath it is running.
And you touch it, and it's like you could literally cook a fucking breakfast on that thing.
Yep.
Insane. But yeah, this thing is dead quiet. Like I can barely hear it. And it's actually what I'm hearing isn't even like the actual anything inside it's the power supply.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what I'm hearing. It's like the quietest little hiss.
Yep.
Even at full render, like, I mean, it's insane. I'll like set something to render, go to bed, it'll be done. Cause like Octave is like imagine like bouncing a song, but each second is a song.
Wait.
Like that's how like rendering has to like basically it's like bouncing out a song for each frame.
Okay, gotcha.
Together in order. That's how long that shit takes. That's why it needs so much power. It's just like a lot to compute, So.
Brocklebank says his computer sounds like a jet plane, sadly, and that he has 10 fans plus the 6 GPU fans.
Oh no.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
That thing can probably heat a small room.
Dude, you could probably, fucking nuclear submarine.
I have a couple random things that I jotted down beforehand. Which one? I don't know. I always like to ask people this because I struggle with this sometimes. Like, how do you identify yourself as a producer, a mixer, artist? Does it change with the week, the day, the month, the year? Like, do you feel like I feel like I've sort of had a slow change from like one to the other, then back, and like, how do you manage all those hats?
I always just identified as like producer, DJ first and foremost.
Yeah,
and then I'm also a songwriter, and I wouldn't even say I'm a mix engineer. I just like mixing my own shit and mastering. I mean, I like people will pay me to master like records, like for major labels and stuff. Will legit like hire me to master.
So you do it, you just don't.
But I'm like, I'm not fucking good. Like, I mean, I guess it's good, but like, I just do it to save money because I don't feel like paying someone else to do something I can probably do equally or almost as good.
Better to put that money towards something that you don't do as well.
I'd rather buy another synth or, pay for Instagram ads for the next song or pay for fucking, I don't know, like beer or food.
Well, even I always like just think like, if you can spend less, like I don't have to spend a lot of money to make music. Like it's better to spend the money on maybe the social media end of things that I'm not as good at, or just think like I said, just try to fill in those gaps.
I would love to just hire someone to do it, or
But
like,
beer is good, right?
yeah, beer's good.
Off that, Rosenthal asked, he wants to mix for others. How can I start? Any advice?
Honestly, just well, first off, just hit your friends up if you know people who are releasing music. Like, be like, yo, I have music that I can mix. Like here's songs I've mixed. Really, um, and just show them that you do good shit.
Yeah.
And then hit those people up, and then you know post on social media that you're doing it, and eventually it just starts to add up.
I don't have friends, he says with a sad face.
But like I would say like Twitter and Instagram for sure, like especially just like a classic slide in the DMs.
Well, and I was gonna say like I have done that. I give people this advice with remixes and whatnot, but just say, hey, like I want to take a stab at it. Like you don't have to use it. Like I just want to like give it a try. Like I mean, like Rosenthal, I'll send you stems to stuff of mine, and you just try it until I've had people ask me the same thing. Like, hey, can I mix one of your songs? Like you don't have to use it. Like I just want to like give it a try.
Yeah, I've had there was a kid in Amsterdam. He's a fucking great mix engineer, and he hit me up. And I like mixing music, so I don't really need a mix engineer. But he was like, "Yo, can I just do it? Like, you don't have to pay me anything. If you like it and it works, then pay me. But if it's not something if it's not great, then all good, And it ended up sounding fucking amazing. So
did you use it, or were you just like?
Well, the song hasn't come out yet, but
okay.
I'm gonna use it.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, that worked for him,
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. No, that's definitely the way to do. I mean, just cold emails. I saw a great thing the other day on Twitter or something that was just like, don't worry about. Well, first off, you can find pretty much anybody's email, or like everything's out there. I saw the source thing was like somebody said they got a remix cleared of Billie Eilish, and it was because they just found Billie Eilish manager's email like after a quick Google search, and were like, hey, can we get this remix cleared? And they were like, sure. And
I wrote a song for Odessa on their last album.
Yeah.
And like I didn't produce it. Like I mean, I wrote a song. Me, Adam, my roommate, this artist, Naomi Wild, and the other Adam was in a duo called Bee's Knees, if anyone is familiar, and the other half of Bee's Knees at the time, Aaron, and we all wrote this song. One of our managers was like, "Yo, Thomas Jack or somebody wants a top line," so we wrote it for Thomas Jack.
Okay.
And then I like vocal produced it, but the track was produced by, one of the like some producer. I forget what his name. He did Body for Loud Luxury, and like he's like a ghost producer. He's fucking sick. His name always pops up, but I don't know. He's fucking nuts. But it was produced by him. I think it ended up being a Zecco record.
Wait,
we recorded it at and yeah, it's that one. It was a Zecco record. It's one that goes like doo, 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 doo.
What song?
Doo, 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 doo. It's called. Let me look. Yeah, right. It used to be Zecco and Torres. Yeah.
Or what was the correlation between that and the Odessa one?
Let me look. One. King? No. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. I'll explain in a minute. I gotta find this fucking thing now. In Too Deep.
Okay.
Yeah, so the song is called In Too Deep 2017 by Zecco. So we recorded to that. We wrote that. The song's called Higher Ground.
Yeah, okay.
We wrote it to that.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I recorded and did the vocal production, and then Indy or Naomi Wild, she cold emailed fucking Odessa just like, yo, I'm a big time fan. Like, if you ever need top lines, I think she sent that, maybe sent some other ones. I don't even know. And they fucking were like, yo, we love this. Like, yeah, well, we're like gonna be locked in the woods in the cabin working on the album. Like, we'll let you know if we fuck with it. And then like, sure enough, emails late, however many weeks later, it was like, yo, like, come through the studio, listen to the song, So they invited us to the studio in LA, and then we heard it, and like, it just became a thing.
Yeah. No, I get nervous about those cold emails, but
them, and like, it blew up, and it made the album, and it was a big thing.
Wasn't it like the lead single?
It wasn't the lead single, but it was a pretty one of the bigger records on the album.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But like, that's just goes to show you, like, just shoot your shot. Who gives a fuck, Like, it's not like you're in person and like, hey, give me an opportunity, and then they're like, no, fuck you, and you're like, now I feel like shit. Instead, you're just sending an email, and it's just words. Either they don't respond or they say no. That's worst case scenario. That's fine.
Well, and what the street said was everybody gets so many emails like that. I mean, either they look at it briefly or whatever, and they just like, toss it out, and you can cold email them again next year, and they won't remember. Like, people don't remember. I don't remember people I had long conversations with, let alone people who sent me one email. My memories. I think most people in this industry.
The cold email. That's like how you connect dots, because it's like you can't know everyone. It helps to know people, but you don't need to. You can live in the fucking woods and probably make a living just emailing.
Well, I guess that's a good segue too, because it's like income in music. Like, there's been a lot of talk about streaming revenue and obviously like songwriter revenue and whatnot. And I do like to always ask, because I think a lot of the people who watch my stream and are part of the Discord and whatnot, like, have aspirations to make money in music, either full time or as a side hustle or whatever. And it's like, I'm curious what your thoughts are on, like, because I've talked about this before, whether it's just making money off producer fees, mixer fees, like, versus then royalties on stuff. And like, what do you find, like, what's the easiest way to pay the bills? I guess, do you think?
I mean, there's no easiest way. I'd say everything comes with its own, like,
pros
it's just
cons.
a matter of like, what are your strengths, like, what do you want to do, and then like, what do you have the means to pull off right now,
Yep.
But like, if you're a mix engineer, then mix records. If you're a DJ, you can't tour right now, so you got to learn how to produce. You got to produce records and release them. So you can make money as a producer DJ by signing records to labels that already exist, and they'll give you an advance, which is usually $1,000.
Yep.
So if you have a manager, you're gonna make $800 off of one song.
Yep.
That's like worst case. That's like $1,000 low.
Yeah.
But
it's, I mean, it's not uncommon.
I've taken fees like that, like last year, honestly.
Well, it's in advance too. I mean, it's just like, it's, if you don't get an advance, you'll see royalties off the bat.
And make money on the back end and actually recoup it, instead of taking a bigger, advance and then never recoup, because they love to get creative with their accounting.
Yep.
So
do you find it's easier to make money off the advances than off of keeping? Because we talked about this earlier this year, just you and I.
Depends on the record. So if it's a club record, just take as much as you can up front, because good luck ever recouping that money.
Yep.
Unless it's a fucking smash club. If you think it's a smash club record, like, this shit will cross over and be like if you did Take It by Dom Dalla, like, you want to take.
Yeah, you want to own it.
Royalties, because that fucking thing went, But if it's not Take It or Cola, like,
yeah,
just get your check, move on.
Yeah.
Crank it up. Like, if like, that's my MO last 2 years has been make club records. Like, I'm trying to play more shows. Like,
yep.
Obviously now this year's fucked up, but like, when things come back, and I want to be like ready with a bunch of club records and like perfect the club stuff,
Yeah.
And then when it's time to switch back over to vocal records, we'll do more vocal records,
When did DJing really come into your, like, did you started, you said with FL, and then like, at what point did you sort of learn those alongside each other? At some point, did you have to sort of catch up on the DJ side?
naturally, I fell into like producing rap music and working like I didn't even work with local rappers. I did this website at the time was called SoundClick. I'm sure it's still a thing. People sell beats, and I was selling beats under a moniker, and it was like passive income.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started making money with that. Basically, you sell the same beat over and over for $20 a pop, shit like that. I mean, it was super dope because I made a living off of it. So I was
That's still
able
a
to,
big thing. There's just a lot more beats now.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's like, but at the time, it was like a lot easier. Because I noticed when it got hard, it got hard.
Yeah.
Like it's easy, and then it got hard.
And dude, I got friends from my hometown in Johnstown who like on their Snapchat story are like, buy my beats, like,
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, and I listen to them, and I'm just like,
oh. Dude, I would do like special, like 5 beats for $50, like that kind of shit, like hustles,
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, at like Mac Miller's first like 2 mixtapes, iconic mixtapes, all those beats were most of those beats were SoundClick.
Wow.
Or like those producers were also on SoundClick, like that. I mean,
yeah.
Everyone did that, I mean, I think Hot Boy, Bobby Shmurda, that was Jalil Beats, which is SoundClick all day.
Well, now it's like splice loops too. I remember like there's a Young Thug. I listened to the Young Thug's been my most listened to artist for like 3 years in a row now. It's kind of it's kind of an issue.
Yeah, of course.
But I there's one song of his that I know really well, and then I was like listening to like a rap playlist on Spotify, and like the same loop, exact same loop, like nothing's changed about it comes on, and I'm like, oh my god,
Dude,
like, this is a Splice.
I spent a lot of time on Splice because I mean, especially when you're doing sessions, like you got to have ammo for these.
I was gonna say that's when I ended up doing more presets. I used to do so much more sound design, and then it was sessions where I was just like, shit, like.
I gotta get shit out.
I gotta get like people don't have more than about 30 seconds of patience for like a sound and something like that, and then it's like, oh shit, they're gonna leave.
No, my thing has been making loops. So like in my free time, and I've had more success honestly in recent times because I'm not one to sit through sessions anymore. I just don't have the patience.
They don't like them.
I don't like doing that. Like it's life sucking. But some people love that shit, and that's what they love to do. I don't really love to do all the sessions. Like I did, there was a like 2018. I think I made 100 songs from
that
sessions.
Sounds about right.
But lately I've been just making samples, like making my own loops, and then I just send them to my producer homies, and I've been getting hit back like certain, like huge like big rappers have been like, yo, we did a record, like we did some shit with the fuck, I don't listen to them, but I know they're big. God damn it, what are they called? Not Suicide Boys, but it's like another one of those guys.
Okay.
That kind of shit. But they like did some shit to like two of the samples, and they made like a sick beat out of them. And like I'm a co-producer on it. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to sit, like that model works well for me.
That's actually a really good way. I mean, that's common in hip hop.
Like make it sound like it's an old. Like I'm really into soul music, so like I got really fucking good at taking string sounds from like Spitfire and faking like OG like 60s Motown strings.
Oh, that's cool.
And doing the slides and like writing it like you would a composer would, each individual section, like violin 1, violin 2, violin 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
All the way down, like especially like those records are all contemporary, like smaller sections, and then they'd be double tracked so that they'd sound big, and then that they would pan those stereo if it was a stereo recording, or they would just layer them on top, and that's how they got those big sounds. So I would like sit here in Fruity Loops and like do the MIDI CC like crazy automation.
Oh, that's
try
cool.
to make it as real as possible. Yeah, so I'll do shit like that, and then make samples. And, those will be things that I'll send out. That way, it's like easier. It's easier to clear if the co-producer. There she is.
She is, yeah. Otherwise, she's gonna. Oh, sorry.
No one move.
Quiet. There must be a package or something that got delivered. She's very upset. What was I gonna What was I going to ask? Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I had a few sessions in LA where people would come in and they'd just be like, yeah, I work with this other producer, and like I thought about bringing him, but like I just have a folder of like his loops, and like that person, like I never met them, but they ended up being co-producers because like the loops came from that. So like when we talk about just cold emailing people demos or hey, I can mix your song, like just making like loops and chords and things like that can be just as
Ideas, even if the track already tracks, like who knows? Like there might be some shit in there that's like crazy, and someone is like, "Wait, I'm gonna use this. Maybe this would be for this person." Who knows? You just never know.
you just have to trust your gut too. Like I've just sent people like loops, or I've sent people demos that I'm just like, I don't know, I think they would like this, and sometimes they come back and they're like, nah, and sometimes they ghost me. But like every once in a while, like I mean, I sent a song to Galantis, and I just on a whim I was like, I thought this sounded like them, and he hit me back like 2 hours later and was like, I love this, send me the stems, and I was like, okay,
Exactly.
like,
Yep. Yeah, that's how the I did a record with the NBA YoungBoy. Like I've never met him in my life. He doesn't even know I exist. But ended up being a big thing, and it got into like the UFC video game. It's like it was in a fucking movie.
oh wow, that's actually another great segue too, because you have a song on FIFA this year.
Yeah. That was sick because it's like my record.
Yeah,
No one else worked on that.
I mean FIFA's like
Splice loop that the vocal the da 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 that
yeah, FIFA's like the creme de la creme of video game soundtracks.
life goal of mine. Literally, like I remember, like I would literally say that I'm like gonna end up in this fucking soundtrack. Like I'm like one day I'm gonna be in that soundtrack. Like that's literally a life goal. I was so hyped when I found that.
I would argue that FIFA played an instrumental role in Lewis the Child's like rise to. Hi, Adam.
It's Simon.
Simon.
Oh, you just look like Adam from
yeah
the doorway.
My landlord's popping in.
Are you being too loud?
No. There's just like things that are broke. Like this is like a brand new house, and it's like.
Oh, did you guys move?
Yeah. We're in North Hollywood.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But there's like things that are like fucked up. Like my door wouldn't close right. It was like weird. Like the shit was like off. So.
Gotta get it fixed.
Gotta get it fixed.
That's awesome. Did they reach out to you about that? Did you submit it? Like, was that through? Like, how did that come about?
My publisher, I think, did it because I'm published by Primary Wave and BMG. Someone at Primary Wave who is, I guess, connected with the music director for FIFA. They pitch a bunch of records, and that was one that they're like, "Oh, this is great!" Like, and then it just became a thing. Like, they hit me in July, maybe, and they're like, "Hey, we're considering it," or I don't even think they said they're considering it. They're like, "Hey, this is being used for the FIFA thing. Like, here's some contract, blah blah blah."
Do you get paid any like advance for that kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, but not on not so you get paid. This is how because it's called a synchronization.
Yeah.
Just for those who don't know what that shit is.
Yeah,
that's
true.
a whole other side. It's another way to make money.
Yeah.
Music. It's fucking amazing because you can get rich off of this shit.
Yeah.
Like commercials will pay, especially commercials like Walmart will pay $150,000 for a song to be used in their fall campaign for back to school notebook.
I know a guy who got paid like I think almost 7 figures for a McDonald's commercial.
Dude, that like those big brands like Target, fucking Thanksgiving Black Friday sale
It's
commercial.
stupid. There's so much money out there.
100K, ridiculous. But okay, so with that record, you get paid on the publishing side, meaning like the intellectual rights side, which is what my publisher handles, and then you get paid on the master side, which is the label that put it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that song came out on Armada, and I had a balance. Like I had to recoup my deal with Armada for that record, right?
Yeah.
So the feed chipped away at what I owed on the recouping that side from the master side, and then on the publishing side, I had a deal with my publisher, and I had to recoup that side. So I actually didn't make money, even though, because I owed on both ends.
Yeah.
So, because it wasn't much. It was like $5K a side or something. It was like nothing. But I didn't give a shit. I mean, not about money at that point. It's just the amount of people that are going to see my name now from that game. It's like that's not worth, like, there's no, you know, it's worth way more than $5,000.
You'd pay money for that, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
If they charge you $1,000 for your song on FIFA, you'd be like,
done.
Yeah.
So send me your Venmo.
Good thing they don't. Good thing they don't. Don't let them hear that.
It'd be so shiesty.
Hey man, if they can, they will, you know. That's the direction things have gone.
I mean, something's got to give. The shit is getting fucking weird.
A couple other things. You know, I always like to ask, like, what's your favorite thing that you've made or collaborated on? Like, is it one of your originals? Is it something you've done with somebody else?
Probably Thinking About You, because
Is that you? Is that a Niko?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this record where because I got a friend of mine to replay the horn line from Spotty Yachty Delicious.
Okay.
Outcast, which being from Atlanta, it's like shit I grew up on, you know? And like, I don't know, it's just like, and then the girl that sang it is this church singer, fucking crazy voice, and it was just like a sick, like, I made a sample to the backing, like the guitar's little loop sounds like the old record, but it's like everything's just like so homemade and it's fucking awesome. And then also like Outkast gave us the okay to like use the.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like,
did you have to give up publishing for that?
We had to pay him like $2,000, $2,500.
Okay, but you just paid it.
Yeah,
that's
paid
interesting.
them and I gave them some publishing.
Okay, there you go.
I think they got 50% or something.
Oh wow,
which is like honestly pretty reasonable.
Yeah, for an interpolation.
Yeah. So needless to say, I made no money on that song after I got my advance. But I was like, I fucking love that song. And it goes the fuck off live too.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Another thing that I always like to ask people, because a lot of times in this it's like half an interview, half just us bullshitting. You know, people ask, you know, what the great things are, what the great moments are, you know, what the highlight, you know, what the coolest thing, and it's usually, you know, a show or meeting somebody or whatever. But I always like to ask, like, what is something like that you feel like you've had to overcome, or like, you know, what is a larger challenge? Because I think those can actually be more inspiring sometimes. Is like
it's yourself.
Yeah.
Me. Yeah, it's me versus me. That's it. Everyone. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's like different for other people, but I
think
like
that's pretty typical for artists.
My worst critic, my worst fucking everything. It's like you can't blame anyone for things not working out, you know?
Yep.
So you only have yourself to blame when it comes to like your lack of success, but like you not reaching your goals.
How do you feel like that affects you? Do you feel like you spend too much time on stuff that's good? Do you feel like you don't release records that maybe you should? Like, how do you feel? Like, how does that mindset affect you?
I sit on records because maybe I won't think they're good enough, or I spend too much time trying to make it, you know, better when I probably should just move on to the next idea, or like, you know, there's like certain things where I'm shooting myself in the foot, or like, you know, I'm not taking photos for fucking Instagram, or like doing shit that like I don't like doing because but it's like, you know, there's things you have to do, especially as an artist. Like you have to do certain things, you know?
Do you feel like you spend so much time thinking that you should be doing one thing or another that like you're not doing anything because that for me has been like a huge, last year I was in like, I really realized when I moved back to Pittsburgh,
you shut down, you know, like it bogs you down mentally, and then you're not like, you know, you're not grooving, you're not fucking getting stuff done.
Yep.
But lately I kind of quit with that mindset, like I was saying, because it's just like I feel like the less, like, obviously, like when I say I don't give a shit, I mean like in the sense of like I don't worry anymore. Like whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. There's no like, could I be doing better, or like any of that. Like I'm just like, I'm gonna move at my own speed, and you know, and that's it. Like, and then I feel like you end up working better. clear mind, you just like get shit done at your own. It's like snipers in the military. They say, what do they say? Slow or smooth. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
Yeah.
Just so like if you're like aiming real all
Yeah.
all frantic and then you miss, and you take longer to reload and hit it, and it's bad.
I'll try to take that into Valorant with me.
But if you're smooth and you take your time, you get it done. You end up finishing quicker.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's it.
Uh,
So like you just move at your own pace and fucking get things done, and you'll end up actually, like, before you know it, like all this stuff has happened and all this like really good shit's added. It's like just every day is a little improvement, and you get one thing done, and
Yeah. A follow up on that from last bar was he'd like to know what percentage of your time you spend on non music stuff, like emails, promoting your stuff, Instagram.
Not enough. But yeah, because I'm such like I zone in on music a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to, like, there's no hour a day. Like I don't have, like, because maybe one day I don't do any of it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm horrible with my phone. Like, I'm the worst. Everyone talks shit about me with my phone. It's awful. But I can't help it because I'm like here. I'm in my zone. Blinders on. Like, I'm worrying about the EQ on this snare.
Yep.
And if it's hi-hats are too bright, like I'm like, is the bass cool enough? Or but then I forget to respond to emails to my manager. Like, it helps to have a manager, obviously, because you have someone that is the face of like the business side of what you're doing.
Yeah, my manager's always said that like a normal reply time for them is like a few hours or even the same day, whereas like a normal reply time for artists is like 2-3 days. Like we get way more wiggle room with that.
No, I know, and we get to play the artist card.
Just be like, sorry,
bad at business.
I'm
Oh
bad at
God,
business.
Yeah,
I was going through something.
I was going through an artist crisis.
Yeah, I was having artist problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I should probably spend more time doing that stuff. Like.
Well, something that I've thought about is like,
I'm working on that. That's like, I'm gonna try to like be like, all right, an hour a day every morning. I'm gonna like not sit on my computer, and instead maybe sit on the couch downstairs and like be on my phone, texting and emailing.
I saw something good the other day from a guy on Twitter, and he said like, some people. It was in response. He was like subtweeting like somebody or something or whatnot. Some artist who's thought that they were being blacklisted from getting on playlists or things like that. And he was saying about, he works with like some dubstep artists, and he was saying about how like people think that they're not getting enough recognition when like this guy said he goes out and will like look for new dubstep music on SoundCloud. It's a big scene on SoundCloud, and a lot of times he'll get there and he'll go to comment on a song or something like that, and like the guys he manages, the artists that he manages, have already liked and commented on the song. And he said basically like they're actively being part of their community. And I think that's something I've been thinking a lot about lately, is like maybe it's not necessarily posting tons of your own pictures and your own things and whatnot, but kind of actively going out there and not just commenting hearts or something like that on photos or smiley faces or whatever, but like genuinely interacting with people that you like.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. Like, I mean, I try to do that, especially because like you have this fucking device that's right here, and you can do all that. It's like you don't have to be sitting in front of a screen and typing. I mean, you don't have to like say this is my time to email. Like, you can just do it while you're waiting for your check at the restaurant, or last year.
Back in the day.
God damn it. Okay, now we're all home, so there's no excuses. But like,
yeah.
It's just it's like it's gotten easier to like sit and focus about about like connecting, because everyone's in front of the phone, everyone's on their social media. So yeah, I mean, dude, the amount of artists I've hit up just for like, yo, when I'm in Seattle, like, let's do a session, or like, yo, when I'm you know, when I come back, next time I'm in New York, like let's, you know, like let's get in, like you know, and then next time I go to those cities, I'm gonna have a new song, you know, like
Yeah.
or four, you know what I mean? Like that. All I had to do is send a cold DM. Yo, I
That's
love
such
your
a
voice.
valuable time spent, like, is just cold. Like, I forget about that too, is like collaboration. Like, I get so into, like, I want to 100% things, you know, myself
Yeah.
and just make, but it's like, I mean, realistically, like, if you look at a lot of people's Spotify's, especially the type of people that you might, you know, when you are making those comparisons, you're like, oh, you know, this person is doing, you know, supposedly maybe better in this category or that category than I am. You go and you look and it's like their biggest songs are all collaborations with, you know,
Like
with other people. Yeah. And so, like, yeah, it helps raise the bar on their own stuff, but like at the end of the day, like, it's a lot. I mean, even remixes, like, I mean, as somebody who does a lot of remixes, and I've done a lot, you know, myself, like, I mean, that's you're piggybacking off of somebody else's, you know, fan base, which is ultimately like, you know, those have been great for me, like, as much as any original thing.
yeah, my remix of Skywalker like killed it, you know, and
Yeah.
like what Miguel fans are gonna give a shit about like the house remix, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think it like that kind of thing. It's like people cared about that record because it was they recognized like people who like dance music recognize the vocal, and
Yeah.
there was like that was just a cool version that they could dance to, you know, and it did well because of that, you know. It's like so also you get that recognize, you know, the like the familiarity of like something that's already out, you know.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I was like getting those remix like I don't know. I've never had luck asking to remix stuff. It's almost like it's like artists don't handle that anymore.
Yeah.
It always comes from the label,
Yeah,
you know?
I have like a few A&Rs, so I'll just be like,
Yeah.
hey, like,
So
need any remixes? And sometimes it,
asking artists like, hey, yeah, like when Disclosure dropped, a lot, you know, I like, dude, I like was like, I want to remix this so bad, and like no one got back. You know what I mean? Like no
yeah,
one was like, yeah, sure, you know,
it's just hit
like
or
it's
miss
yeah, it's just like, dude, I get no's all the time, or not no responses all the
or
time. Yeah,
ghosting. Yeah.
like no one, yeah, they just won't hit me back. Like it's all good, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But like,
quantity over quality with a lot of that, with those cold emails. It's just like,
yeah,
it's, you
never,
can't
never
let
had luck.
no's or ghosting deter you from just doing
Yeah,
it again.
yeah. But like when it comes to like, you know, like getting vocals, like collaborating on some shit, like, hold on one second,
Yeah, you're good. Not only are women ghosting me, producers too.
dude. It's like on both ends. Yeah, no,
Seriously.
like that's how it goes. It's like
Too
it's cold
real.
out, you know. I think like honestly, you just gotta like as a producer, as an artist, producer artist specifically, you just gotta fucking lock in and like just make your
This year
shit.
especially, dude, I mean, it was like, I mean, in March, it was like, I just like, if you didn't hear from somebody, I mean, like, I had a lawyer, you know, in March, and I just stopped hearing from him one day, and then I was just like, hey, like, you know, is this, and then you're like, hey, like, is this a sign that I need to find a new lawyer? And he doesn't say
Right?
anything to that either, and you're just like, okay, cool. So like, then you go find a new lawyer, and they're like, cool, I'm
Dude,
in, and then like a week after that, you can't hear from them either, and it's like, do I need to find a new lawyer? They don't reply, and I'm like, okay,
I
that's a
know.
yes. And it's just like, oh, that was like the whole first 6. That was what really had me down in like June. Was anybody I was working with on anything, just everybody was dealing with shit, and so it was just, I just felt like, all right, it's just, and I'm unmanaged now. So I mean, I'm literally just like, all right,
Like you're on your own, man.
yeah.
Like I liked it. Yeah, like this year was like kind of fuck. Like I'm like just now getting back into the swing of things and like putting together releases again.
It's
Honestly, like
only December
I didn't
9th.
feel like there was a need for me to like really go hard on releasing or like scheduling all these. You know, I put out stuff when I felt was necessary and um, just built out my folder for when I can start, you know, putting my releases back together. It's like I got all this ammo I'm sitting on, fucking crazy songs that I'm just like waiting to drop, and I'm gonna just slowly put them out when I feel like it's time, you know.
Well, and there is no, like, I think that you know, as artists, we look at people who are like coasting, you know, and you think like, oh, there's like sort of like an end point or something like that, you know, and it's like, nope, last year was getting ready for this year, and this year was weird, but this year is getting ready for next year, and next year next year is going to be getting ready for the next, like it's never gonna, because I feel like, you know, in the end of the fourth quarter, I'm always like, okay, like time to get everything, like I've never been that far planned ahead, and I'm like, time to get, you know, everything squared away for next year, and it's like that's never gonna end, like
as long as you're getting ready, you know.
Yep.
As long as you're getting ready, then you know, then you don't get left behind the next year, you know. So
Yeah.
just stay improving.
How often do you try to like? Are you trying to meet like quarterly, monthly? Like, what's your release?
Oh, yeah, I was trying to do a record a month. You know.
I feel like that's kind of the way. I feel like for actually a few years now, that's been like the way to go.
Good, yeah, because you don't want to do them too stacked up, because it's like, how often can you tell your fans like, yo, I have a new song, that they'll be like not excited anymore?
But shelf life is also so short that.
But also, like, I don't know. Okay, yes and no, because like for me, all of my records are slow growers, all of them.
Yeah.
I don't get crazy streams from, you know, I get like the initial like 100K like right when it drops, and then it goes to like, you know, half of that, quarter of that every month, and it starts to like add up, and then after a year we hit like bigger numbers, but it's like slow growers, you know.
Yep.
Like I want to, because I don't know, I just want to make either music that I can play in the club, which I don't care about streams on those, because I want people to come want to dance, you know. So the streams I don't really give a shit about. But then if it's a record I do like, you know, like a vocal record or something that I really want people to listen to in their cars and do their fucking makeup to, like, then it's like I want them to like it for 2 years, you know, 3 years. I want it to be like still, you know, until like that sound becomes old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to be like another flash in the pan record that sounds like everything else, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my MO now. It's like make shit that like will be cool for a while instead of just like hip, you know, and like too trendy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, I think that's gonna about do it for us.
Dude, I'm getting hungry. I think I'm gonna go. I haven't really. I had like a bowl of cereal at like 6 a.m.
I had an apple and a cup
also,
of coffee.
I'm waking up mad fucking early.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask you that at some point. If you're like a morning creator or a nighttime.
But I don't know what happened this year, and now
yeah, because you would text me at times, and I'd be like, it's like early, and maybe you were in Atlanta too, like sometimes. But I'd be like, you were up early. No, you were in LA sometimes, and you'd be texting me, and I'd be like, what are you up?
I get up at 5, 6 a.m. sometimes. Like,
jeez. I tried that this year, but I just like I can't. I actually, honestly, today was the first day I've been awake before noon since Thanksgiving, and then even the week before that.
I used to be like that. Like I used to wake up at 1 p.m. Dude, like, but no, you're more like how I was. Like
I'm a night owl.
Yeah. I was usually like. I also like I got the habit of working on music really quiet.
Yeah, because you're at home.
I don't like when other people can hear me working too.
Yeah.
You know, like I like to know that no one can hear. Because what if I'm making really I don't know.
What if you're making really bad? I would work loud in the studio unless I was making something like really weird, and then I work like so quietly because I was like in a rap studio, and I was like, if anybody hears this coming out of my room, like I'm never gonna be able to look anyone in the eye here ever again.
Yeah, I try to go out for like a drink of water or something, and they're gonna be like,
everybody's just like
making that clown shit. Like,
yep.
Yeah, it's like, were those dog whistles? Like, what the fuck was that?
I just worked on 1 or 2 songs with like really bad vocals.
I got that habit from working really, really quiet from working late at night.
Yeah, if you have a home studio, I could never do the home studio. That's one of the reasons I had to leave LA was because I just like couldn't have a home studio. Like, well, and then I do have a home studio now, but not for the car. I mean, it's just the money out there is stupid.
It's too expensive. It's like I would have to earn twice as much for me to afford another room. Literally.
I
Like,
paid
it's
3 times as much for my studio than I did for my apartment too, because studio space
insane.
is crazy expensive.
It's ridiculous. It's like more than living space. Insane.
Well, and then it just puts a lot of pressure on you to like. The way I justified it at first was like I want to have somewhere to go to work, but like I have to make, if I'm paying say $2,000-3,000 a month for a studio, then I have to make a producer fee every
my
month.
goal-
Like I have to produce a song for somebody else every month just to pay for the rent, you know? And it just puts pressure on you to like take jobs that you don't want to do.
I like waking up, being in my fucking pajamas, not showered, just stinky fucking morning breath, and making music. You know, love that shit.
That's been my whole year.
Jams in my underwear, like who gives a fuck? And then you're just making like you're just freedom. Like that's my office. You know.
Yep.
I don't want to go to the studio. I did that. I already did that shit. I would go to studios. You talk too much fucking around. I'd rather just, you know, like that's I don't know.
Just wake up and get straight to it.
My goal is like sometime next year is to get a place in Atlanta, and then have a place here.
Oh,
have a
nice.
place so I just want to be bi-coastal. That's kind of my goal.
Nice.
So I'm just trying to, and because then I can actually I could get like a 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom, and have like a fucking studio, you know, like a legit studio.
Yep.
Have like a you know, and paid, you know, I mean,
Not as much. Yeah.
a third of what it costs here. It's like living expenses there. Like
It's still a big city. It's just not LA. Yep. No.
So.
That's awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much again for making the time. Oh, do you want to plug anything?
Oh, yeah. How do I do that?
I don't know, just tell us what it is. I'll link to it. I'm gonna upload it in YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just follow my Twitter, because I need people to follow my Twitter. It's at Niko Makes Beats.
Twitter. I'll type it out.
Twitter.com
Twitter.com/Niko
Makes Beats.
Beats. Yeah, I'll put all your socials in. When I upload it to YouTube, I'll put all your socials and any other links you want me to post.
Yeah, follow me on those, and because I tweet dumb shit all the time, so I'm trying to be more on my Twitter.
You
game,
do.
you know?
You're one of those where sometimes you tweet, but you haven't answered my text.
Whoa. I told you this.
Oh, I know you are. It's just fun. I'm that person who I'm on Twitter so much that like I'm very aware of like who's tweeting, but like hasn't read my text
I go
message.
through Twitter before I go through my text. It's so bad.
I'm that person. I mean, I'm that person too. Like I
Dude,
do the same. I do the same.
230 unread text messages.
Oh my. Okay, that's yeah. Once I get above like 30, I have to go through and get rid of all of them, and it's sad how much of the time it's just going through them.
A third of those are, hi Annette, it's DI from ARA inviting you to the town hall. I'm like, who the fuck? No.
Yeah. A lot of mine are just your package was delivered, and I just never opened the message.
Verification code for OnlyFans is 910. Pornhub verification code is.
Yep. No, half of them are that. And it's sad how many I go through, and they're like people that I was like, I ghosted at the time and was like, I'm going to get back to this later. And then when I'm going through, I just have to open it. And I'm like, it's too late.
We're working on it. We're working on it,
too
man.
late. Well, dude, thanks again. Enjoy your lunch. It was great chatting with you and catching up. And yeah, best of luck. My therapist always says, best of luck in all your goals and endeavors.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna start saying that to
At the end of every conversation.
Like, best of luck.
Yeah, in all your goals. I hope you reach your goals and endeavors.
Love that.
All right, dude.
Well, take it easy. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I'm sure everyone appreciated it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, fuck yeah.
All right, have a good one, man.
Yep, you too. Later.
Peace.